Hi, this is Bo with 2 Minute Marketing for My Small Salon, and this is part 2 in the series, Their Perception is Your Reality. If you've seen part 1, then you know that I was building the foundation for the rest of the series, and I'll admit that the whole thing got pretty involved. There were business principles, customer psychologies, and various insights coming from left and right. And I had to knock down the major misconception that business owners typically have about price, how it relates to their services, and how their customers perceive value. A lot of information came out of part 1. Foundations are necessary to the success of everything that's built to work, but they're not exactly fun. And that's why I changed things up a little by giving you the lighter, more fun video right after that, the tribute to chocolate, before getting back into the perception series. Incidentally, if you haven't seen part 1 of perceptions or the chocolate video, you can hop on over to the main site, 2minutemarketing.com, and navigate your way to them. And if you haven't seen any of the 2 Minute Marketing videos, then watch the introduction video on the bottom left of the front page. Okay, now I promised that the rest of the perception series would be a whole lot more fun and interesting than part 1, so let's get rolling. Alright, quick. Which one brings home more money, the lady on the left or the one on the right? Okay, how about these two? Which man pockets bigger tips, the one on the left or the one on the right? As a salon owner and business professional with knowledge about how things really work, you might say, well, it depends. And that's correct. Realistically, we really can't tell for sure just by an image which one has more money, makes more money, has higher paying customers, or any of that. Now let me ask you this. If your customers saw these images and were asked the same questions, what do you think their answer would be? Right. The majority of your customers will probably tell you immediately that the lady on the right is more successful, makes more money, and that the waiter on the right makes much bigger tips than the one on the left. And if you press them further, they may even concede to you that they believe that the better dressed, more professional looking person commands more money in the free market. In other words, your customers draw conclusions about where higher or lower amounts of their money will go based on an image, a perception that they have formed over time in their minds. And they have tons of what psychologists call social proof, which in this case means that all their friends believe this also. And their friends' belief actually validates their belief. Now on a side note, you might be saying, oh come on Bo, that snooty waiter guy on the right will always get much bigger tips than the one on the left. Perception has nothing to do with that. And if you're thinking anything like that, then take a look at this. Yep, that's me. I made a whole lot more in tips than the waiter on the left too, right? Nope. I was at an art auction. I was giving away free samples of a new premium candy and business cards to anyone that wanted one. I dressed that way to give the perception of higher value to the people who sampled it. And I didn't make a penny in tips. So the waiter on the left kicked my butt in tips if he got a single dollar bill. How about that? Okay, now here's your takeaway from all this. The first step towards being perceived as high-value hair or nail professionals is to lock in on your customer's perceived image of high-value professionals and then have your staff project that image. And you can test this theory yourself. You're a consumer, so let's test it. Let's say you walked into a local hair or nail salon for the first time and the entire staff was dressed very similar to the lady on the left. Then you walked across the street and went into another salon on your first visit, and everyone was dressed similar to the lady on the right. Same square footage, same services. There are some other aesthetic differences, wall art themes, overall cleanliness, soft music, stuff we'll discuss and analyze in later segments. But just from the dress differences alone, which salon do you expect at first blush will have the higher prices? And for the men, you walked into one restaurant and were immediately greeted by the waiter on the left, and then across the street you walked in another restaurant and were greeted by the waiter on the right. Again, which would you expect to have the higher prices? And as a big bonus question, would you spend any of your precious time arguing that it's unfair that the nicer dressed places had higher prices than the more ordinary dressed places? No, you wouldn't, any more than you would argue that Alterna caviar shampoo prices aren't closer to Suave. And you know what? Your customers wouldn't argue it either. They accept the quote-unquote truth about their perceptions and make their decisions from there. This truth being that Alterna, the professionally dressed lady, and snooty waiter guy all project higher value in their product or service than Suave, the average dressed lady, and the average waiter, respectively. And regarding the salons, get this. We haven't even discussed things like hours of operation, how long one has been in business versus the other, experience and qualifications of the staff, updated equipment, etc. Our customer already has it figured out in their mind, automatically, that the salon with a better dressed staff will, on average, have higher prices than the one that puts less emphasis on dress. So one of the primary ingredients in positioning your salon in the customer's mind as a higher price salon is to first look to the customer like you should have higher prices. Therefore, the first commandment for raising your prices is dress the part every day without exception. Rain or shine, weekday or weekend, one customer or 100, and until the day you sell your salon for a cool $5 million and retire, your unwavering commitment to this principle and the other principles to come are the gateway to raising the perceived value of your overall services, which in turn provides you with perceived justification in the customer's mind for having higher than average prices. The high-end salons fully understand this principle, and compliance to the dress code is uncompromisingly mandatory. They know that the continued success of the salon literally depends on it, and any drop-off in this area may make their customer believe that their salon isn't as first class as they thought it was. And that doubt in their mind practically assures that they will not get a first-class word-of-mouth recommendation from their customers to their friends and family. Studies have proven time and again that when it comes to telling people about an event or an experience, people start with what went wrong, any shortcomings, or something that in some way disappointed them. So adopting this dress-to-perception principle and enforcing the staff's strict compliance helps to ensure that your customers maintain positive bragging rights about your salon. There are other things that you must do to feed the customer's perception of higher quality services, satisfy the desire to receive premium salon services, and feel very comfortable about paying more for your services. And sharp professional attire is just one of the ingredients in the recipe for higher prices. We'll talk about the other ingredients in later segments. As I move in and out of small market salons, chatting with the front desk about services, buying gift certificates, gathering information, business cards, menus, and other things, I am thoroughly convinced that most of you are dramatically undercutting the value of the services you provide. And in later segments, we're going to take apart all the false perceptions about your prices, perceptions that mega profit salons don't have, and will get you up to where you belong price-wise. Well, that's it for Perceptions Part 2. If you just stumbled on 2-Minute Marketing, you can start getting it hot off the presses. Just go to 2minutemarketing.com, the number 2minutemarketing.com, enter your name and email in the box on the right, and you're in. You'll receive notifications when I have the next video in this series ready for you to view and use. And in the next segment of this series, we go into the mouth of your staff. Looking the part is only part of the deal. You can cement a customer's delight in paying you more for the services that you currently provide just by altering what comes out of your staffers' mouths. I mean that. Certain words not only cause customers to pay more, but make them happy to pay more. And I'll prove it in the next segment. But for now, I'm Bo, I have to go, and I'll see you next time right here at 2-Minute Marketing from My Small Salon.